With us now to discuss, Oklahoma Republican Congressman Kevin Hern. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
Great to be with you.
All right, let's take a look at exactly where Oklahoma is, because maybe not everybody is up on their geography. All right, there you have it. Texas is on the border of Mexico, Oklahoma right there. Do you foresee Oklahoma sending more than the 50 troops already? And how has the border crisis affected Oklahoma?
Well, certainly, as it's been said many times, every state in the nation is a border state. And now, for the first hand, New York is getting to see that, New York City, Chicago, some of the other large cities. And you hear the whining of the mayors talking about how outrageous it is that these illegal immigrants would be put into their cities, when states like Texas and New Mexico, Arizona, and even Southern California have experienced this for many years. And what's been happening now is Texas said we've had enough, and Governor Abbott has asked for help. And it's really sad for all Americans to only see the states that are described as red states sending help to seal our southern border. This is all because our president, President Biden, is doing a terrible job. I was the first to call last year for Mayorkas to resign because of the poor job he was doing, and then followed that up with his impeachment. Because it's pretty clear to every American, because now all news agencies are reporting how bad it is there. And we have the #1 killer of all Americans now, of 18 to 45, is fentanyl. 2.76 million encounters at the border over the trailing 12 months. And this continues going. And as an example for Oklahoma, we're the crossroads of America. I-35 comes up through the center of Texas through Oklahoma City. I-40 goes across east to west, and I-44 from Oklahoma City all the way up through the upper Midwest. Just this past week, I was talking with a county sheriff who stopped a truck or van for an illegal maneuver, and there were 15 illegals in there. None had money, none had IDs. Only the driver had money, $1,500 and an ID. He calls the Homeland Security Investigative Division to come get him. The HSI told him to turn them loose, let them go. This is what people across America are seeing there in law enforcement, and they welcome anything we can do to seal that southern border.
It is absolutely incredible the way law enforcement has been told to stand down. Here, even in New York City, there's a part, it's called Queens, and we're seeing all these reports of brothels popping up, prostitutes walking up and down the streets, scantily clad, and children are handing out cards to customers. Clearly, prostitution has always been around, but you're seeing such a resurgence. We're seeing the drug crisis, how it's spiraling out of control. This can't be a coincidence. This can't be a coincidence that we're seeing so many fentanyl deaths. We're seeing a lot of prostitution, and the border is wide open.
Well, what's happening is Democrat leadership. If you remember, just 4 years ago, the famous video of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi in President Trump's office, and President Trump saying, we're going to seal the border and I need funding for it. And they gave him a hard time. And it wasn't, honestly, until some Democrats, because the House was led by Nancy Pelosi then, until some Democrats actually went to the border and silently came back and told Speaker Pelosi that we had to seal the southern border. The Republican White House, Donald Trump, got the money to do that. We started building the wall, and we saw numbers starting to decline. And now what we're seeing is a complete invasion, not just from members from Mexico, but from all over the world, from 106 different countries coming across our southern border, entering into the United States illegally, and we don't know where they are. We know where some are. They're in New York and Chicago, and they're doing, things that are just horrendous with their schools and with hotels, as you saw with the Roosevelt Hotel in Chicago. It's just a travesty that this president and his administration won't secure the sovereignty of the southern border, so that we have our national security. The Republican-led House passed H.R. 2 with a complete list of things like building the border wall, offering more money to have asylum courts, funding the CBP, introducing E-Verify across all businesses in America. All these things to work together, and the Senate is yet to do anything to seal this southern border so that we know who's coming across.
And yet the Democratic leader, specifically the one here in New York City, Mayor Adams, he keeps calling for more money, but he's not calling out Joe Biden by name, and all the other lawmakers are also staying silent. Let's talk even about the gotaways. Like, we know about the millions that are pouring in, supposedly that they're allowing in, and they supposedly know who they are. But we don't know about the gotaways, God forbid, the possible terrorists, the sex traffickers, the drug cartel members. Congressman, do you think this is an invasion happening at our border that's being aided and abetted by our own president?
I do. You know, when you look at your history books when you were in junior high school, you read about the Homer and the Iliad and the Trojan horse. I think our modern day Trojan horse is all the illegal immigrants coming into the country. We don't know where they are. And what we know right now, we're starting to see these crimes crop up all over the place in our large cities, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, as an example. And we don't know what we're going to do with them. And we've got to figure out right now whether this president is going to do his job or we impeach him for not doing his job and we move down the road and get somebody in the White House that's actually going to care about the sovereignty of this country, care about our national security, and get our southern border under control just as it was before he got here.
Absolutely. Oklahoma Congressman Kevin Hern, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.